What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. Man, we got to get into this one today. I got to start out today, man. It's a bit of a touchy subject for my fellow Jacksonville folk, man. Which is it's hilarious that a guy who's no longer here gets people in their feelings like that. But let me not forget, I have Mr. Reid with me today. How you feeling today, Mr. Reid?
Feeling great, man. Always on a Friday.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I came from getting my workout in, man. My trainer, he put me through the ringer today, man. But hey, give me a little bit of energy, so I'm feeling froggy right now, man. So we gonna get into this. Yeah, man. So Jalen Ramsey went on Catch and Fade's podcast hosted by Aqib Talib. And I don't know if you've seen much of Aqib. Aqib has done he's done a few games, does some color commentating. He's had his podcast, and I've seen him on some other things. And Aqib has a future in media. He's very good, and he doesn't try to be something else. He's himself, you know. And dude, he's a breath of fresh air. When I heard him for the first time, he called games. Last year was his first year. And, dude, I'm here for it. I'm here for the Aqib to lead games, man. He's really good at what he does. But Jalen went on this podcast, and he talked about his departure. And I was under the impression that it was Tom Coughlin that got in Jalen's face and said that stuff to him that pretty much had him to where he was like, hey, called his agent and said, hey, I want to trade. I want to get out. But come to find out, it was David Caldwell. And I said, David Caldwell, that's out of David's character. And even Jalen said it. He said that was out of Jalen's character, man. I mean, David Caldwell's character. He said David has never talked to him like that. He said David didn't even really talk to him, period. He'll see him in the hallway, wouldn't say anything to him, call his agent, and his agent would tell him stuff David had to say to him. He never really talked to Jalen. So he said he was taken aback that day in the locker room after the Texans game where he just went off on him, and he couldn't believe it. So I was listening to that, and I said, so David Caldwell, not only did you back the wrong horse in Blake Bortles, you were 50% of the architect of our destruction, and then our future Hall of Famer is out of town because of you? I said, man, he should have been gone 3 years ago.
Hey, man, I agree with everything you just stated, and everything that you just stated was true. And you know one thing about Dave Caldwell, just on the outside looking in, I don't think he had a great relationship with a lot of the players. And I don't know if he, some GMs like to keep a distance and some GMs like to, interact and those kind of things. But,
yeah,
the real situation about Jalen and Caldwell, it all came after the, everybody saw it, the on-field confrontation or whatever you want to say with Jalen and Monroe.
Yes.
And it already had been cleared. I mean, like 5-10 minutes after the game, Monroe and Jalen cleared it like men. They cleared things, and it was over with. And for whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe he tried to flex his muscle. Or I don't know. I think the situation with the Jaguars at that time, Dave Caldwell was sort of like the second wheel. Caldwell had final say in all the decisions, and when players know who's making the decisions, then the players have far more respect for that person. And
right.
he got into something he shouldn't have got into. If you're gonna chastise Jalen, do it behind closed doors or take him to another room, take him outside. From what I heard from a couple of players, I mean, he chastised Jalen and everybody heard it.
Yeah.
And from that point, there was no coming back for Jalen. Actually, Jalen called his agent before he boarded the plane to come back to Jacksonville to put in that trade request. And from that point on, it was just, I mean, Caldwell made a bad mistake, you know. And another thing, man, you got to know if you're going to be a GM for any professional team in this day and age, you have to know your locker room too. But you also got to treat these guys like young men. Those
Yes.
those days of and this is Coughlin too. Those days of the fear tactic and you just barking at the player and you gonna get maximum effort by scaring them or raising your voice. Those days are gone, man. You can't do this generation like that because they're not gonna tolerate. I mean, they're gonna quit on you. And
Yeah.
he made a mistake. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that was one of other than drafting Blake Bortles. I think that was his number one A mistake that got him out of town because he couldn't mend that fence. You know, if that had been handled right, I don't know if they were going to pay Jalen what he's making now with the Rams. But I think if they would have handled it right, I don't think Jalen would have been that gun ho, like no compromise on a trade request.
Yeah.
And they didn't treat him professionally. You know, you don't chastise a guy in the locker room and all the players here. And you know, and another thing, the one thing I am surprised is that Jalen still got bad blood about that situation, and
Mm-hmm.
just the franchise in general, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's ever gonna get patched up, you know, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it should though because Jalen, if he continues on this path, he stays healthy and he continues to play at this level, which he was number one in completion percentage amongst corners last year, 50%. When you threw his way, you only completed 50% of his balls. That was number one in the league last year. But he continues this path. He goes to the Hall of Fame. He's a Jaguar. He's a Jaguar. He was drafted by the Jaguars. He spent the first part of his career as a Jaguar. So that fence does need to be mended, man, because he was a Jaguar, regardless of how you feel about him. One of my buddies, he messaged me. He said, "Man, some of these folks that's here in town, they really hate Jalen." I said, "Well, hey, young, rich, braggadocious. He talking stuff, and people are, they're loyal to the Jaguars. We have a loyal fan base here, and they are gung ho about the Jaguars. So you either with us or you against us. We have that kind of mentality." But you have to know when you're wrong, you're wrong. I can't be with the organization on this one. There's no way I'm going to side with this on this one. They got it wrong. And the Rams won that trade as soon as it was approved by the league.
Yeah, but you know something else, Brandon. I really don't think the Jaguars from the get go when they drafted Jalen, I don't think they did their homework. I think from the get go that even with Coughlin, that they wanted players who wasn't verbal. They wanted players who just not outgoing, just play within the framework of what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen, even when he's at Florida State, man, that ain't that player. You know,
No.
you obviously he had talent, but he's a guy that's going. You're not going to muzzle Jalen. And if they thought by drafting him that they were going to muzzle him and just he's going to not say nothing or not be who he is and showcase his character, then they might have made a mistake from the get go that they were
Yeah.
going to have this guy in a box and he was going to be a guy who doesn't express himself or talk trash to receivers or whatever. Hey, well, we all know Jalen is an entertainer, man.
Yeah. He's worth the price of admission. He gonna
Yeah,
talk crap and he gonna shut down your best receiver. That's what he does.
yeah. And it's just like if they didn't think that, they thought that he was just going to conform and be a quiet guy who never expressed himself, then maybe they picked the wrong guy. And I don't think they did their homework, to be honest. But, Another thing, Brandon, we're gonna look back and we're gonna say, I mean, maybe even after this season, we're gonna look at that trade, and I think that trade is always gonna come back to Jacksonville, and the question is gonna be, did they get enough in return for a guy that is a potential Hall of Famer? You know,
Yeah.
when I look right now and I look at C.J. Henderson. I think he was one of those picks that they got out of that trade deal. And I'm just thinking, man, like, boy, if they expecting C.J. Henderson to be the next Jalen Ramsey, I'm starting to have questions.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. His first game, he was excellent in his first game, but I mean, his play dropped off a cliff. Pretty much by the middle of the season, play dropped off a cliff. He got hurt, and it looked like it wasn't even necessarily his talent. CJ's effort doesn't look like it's always there to me. He doesn't play with that motor on 10.
I think that, to me, I don't, there's great players coming from South Florida, Miami area, and I say 90% of them got dog in them. I mean, they're just
it's in the down there.
They gonna talk trash, they gonna back it up, they fast. It's something about a Miami player that's you can only say it's a dog in him, like Sean Taylor. I mean, it's like there's something about a Miami player that just, man, this dude is a dog, like he get up on you, he talk trash, and he backs it up, and he shows every play that he's got effort. When I see C.J. Henderson, I don't know, I just see I don't see the passion. I don't see, okay, you beat me this time, but I'm going to take you out on that next play. Yeah. I don't see that in him. I didn't see it at Florida. And I don't know, man. I'm just, I like coming on your show and being frank and honest, but being a dog is something that if you ain't got it now, you're not going to get it.
No, you're not. It's one of those things that either you have it or you don't. Yeah, you're right about that. So, I mean, and K'Lavon Chaisson, I think, was the pick that they got from the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. You got K'Lavon, and ETN was a part of that too. Now, ETN can be a little bit of a cure-all to all of that, because I think ETN, I think he's a sure thing. Don't know where his career will go, but he's going to be dazzling, man. He's going to be a very good player, probably for a long time. Health permitting. But the Jaguars got to wear this L with Jalen Ramsey, man. They got to wear this L. It is what it is, man. But hopefully they don't do this anymore. You get a blue chip type of talent. You want to keep them in house, and it's funny because Deion Sanders called this very early. Deion, him and Jalen's seemed like a son to him. He loves Jalen. Yeah. And Deion called this very early. He was on a show on NFL Network. I can't remember the show that he was on, but he talked about it, and he said when you're a good corner on a bad team, you have no value. He said Jalen's going to have to leave. He's going to have to leave Jacksonville. He wants to get paid. He's going to have to leave because they're not going to pay him because they're a bad team. He doesn't have much value there. And he was right. Jalen said it on the podcast. He said, I didn't felt like they valued me, and they didn't.
No, they didn't value. And I think also you got to put Todd Walsh in this too. If you go back to that team, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When you go back to that 217 game, man, if you got two of the best corners, and particularly that season, and you don't have them playing straight man,
oh my God,
that's a problem.
That's a problem.
And after that game, it wasn't 5 minutes for that locker room was open. That's the first thing that Jalen said. You go over to Bouye, same thing. And it's like disrespect, man. I mean, come on, man. You gotta let your guys. You got to let your guys be who they are. You can't You can't be around here standing on the sideline as a coach, and you don't want like you. I mean, like you distributing who's the star of the game, or you dispensing who who can shine and who's not, and it's like you cutting on and off the switch, and that
Yeah.
just those are the types of chemistry issues that they had even on that team. Like it's like they was afraid for one of those guys to be the star of the game or a hero. I want to take that switch off of them and make it the team concept and stuff. And you can't constrict guys, man. You got
Yeah.
if you got cornerbacks that can cover basically anyone, then allow them to cover anyone. If Jalen can take that number one receiver and take him out the game, allow him to do that. But lesson learned. I mean, that's all you can say. It's nothing else gonna change that. On these Urban Meyer teams, you can bet your bottom dollar that none of that will be happening with his teams. He won't play makers.
Yeah.
He don't want to like dangle them on a string and tell them, okay, I want you to do this the third play, but I don't want you to. I don't want you to go and get any pass breakups on second down. I want us to play zone so we can have a team concept, so we can have a team interception or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it, man. That's the kind of stuff it causes a lot of friction in the locker room, and guys don't believe that they can win, and they don't think from upper management to the coaching staff that they know what the hell they're doing, and that's what that team felt at the end of that game.
Yeah. What's up, Ness? Yeah. It's crazy because, like you were saying, Urban Meyer is not going to put up with that. He's going to keep playmakers in house. They say Percy Harvin was a headache off the field at Florida, and he beat up a strength coach. And when they used to run stadium stairs for conditioning, they say Percy sat in the stands and say, "I ain't doing it. I don't want to run on stadium stairs." They say the next day they played basketball for conditioning instead of running stadium stairs. So. Urban knows when to bend, and I'm pretty sure he knows when to pinch. So I'm just glad we won't let another blue chip talent like that get out the door over something so minuscule, so small, and ego driven. That was ego driven. It wasn't a performance issue.
But you know what else, Brandon? Urban knows what the secret of coaching is in the professional leagues. The star players got different rules.
Yes, they do. Jimmy Johnson said it. He said, "I'm gonna treat everybody. I'm gonna treat you based on what your importance to the team. Basically, that's basically say how he's gonna treat you. Hey, a backup linebacker fall asleep in the meeting. He cut him the next day. Emmitt Smith fall asleep. Hey, Emmitt, wake up. Yeah. Pay attention. That's how it goes."
When he's at University of Miami and Urban come in from the club at 3:00 in the morning, you think he still played on Saturday?
Man, you better believe it. You better believe it. He was on the field.
Hey, that's why you got different contracts. The guy that's the 90th player on the roster don't make it the same amount as Trevor Lawrence, and he's a rookie. There's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason.
You don't treat all players the same, and you can go back to middle school football, and you got a star that can run. Well, he can get a little out. He can get on the school bus a little earlier for that in-school game than a guy that's third string.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's how it is, man. Hey, it is what it is. Hey, don't be bitter. Just get better. If you want to be treated the same, hey, get better, man. Hey, that's a sound philosophy to me. Hey, it's worked for decades.
Yeah, and life ain't fair. No matter how you frame it, talk about it, or whatever, but life ain't fair, especially not on the football field.
No. Yeah, I used to think football was true a meritocracy. Cream always rise to the top. If you're good, they'll find you. That ain't always the case, man. Nope. Yeah. That ain't always the case.
That's why there's a difference between varsity team and the JV team.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
Football ain't changed, man.
No, it ain't. So now we're gonna switch topics. We're gonna go into the NBA champ Milwaukee Bucks. This championship pretty much puts a cherry on top of Giannis's resume so far. I mean, his resume is outstanding so far, man. 2 MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's 4-time All NBA First Team, 3-time First Team Defense. I mean, dude is spectacular. 50 points and a closeout game. 50-14 with 14 rebounds and 5 blocks. Dude. And I will say this. Drew Holiday waking up that was it for them, man. Drew, like we talked about it. It seemed like a week to week when we talk about Drew Holiday, he up and down. Drew Holiday woke up and all he did was attack. That's it. That's what he did. He attack, facilitate, and play defense. And it was up from there. And you mentioned it, and I'll let you get into it a little bit. But about Chris Paul and how you feel like Chris may shrink in the moment. And once you told me that, the gears started to turn a little bit, and I started to think about other playoff series, and I was like, I think you may be right about that, man. Chris Paul may shrink in big moments, man.
Yeah, Chris, I say this, man, and I covered him. I think he's one of the greatest point guards ever, whether he get a ring or not. But I think there's been many series where I don't know if it's the moment. I think he overcompensates a little bit. A couple of times, I think in Game 4, I'm looking over on their bench, and I'm seeing Willie Green like waving them to get the ball across the half court line. You go back on any of those series, Chris didn't have he ain't had to get the yell. There's no yelling from the sideline over there to push the pace. And I think, and when you see a coach doing that, man, and then he's dominating the ball, I mean, Chris probably could have scored 40 a night, but that's not the frame of their system. And I thought the one reason that Phoenix lost that series, they couldn't get Aiden in, I mean, they couldn't get him. They couldn't get him involved. He just was not the same player in that series as he was against the Lakers and Denver. And, Chris, at times, he's a magician that's spreading the floor, facilitating. And then when he tries to do too much or he's, flustered, another thing about Chris, he can easily get flustered.
Sameness. Yeah.
And when he get flustered and he start yelling at players and and then it's almost like his game go, let me show you how it's done.
Yeah.
And I think, and this goes even to Monty Williams. Monty is a great defensive coach. He's not a great offensive coach. He's not a guy he got 4 different ways of figuring out a set to get pick and roll, or if they take away the pick and roll, he ain't got 6 different ways to counter that attack. And that's something that they took away a little bit of that pick and roll later in that series, and they couldn't get Aiden involved, and they couldn't figure it out, but Chris still a great point guard, but there have been some series where
he was in Houston and LA, and he shrunk in some series in Houston and LA.
Yeah, and he shrunk in this series, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now Budenholzer, it was simple for Budenholzer. If their game plan was, let's say if this was football and you want to know what Budenholzer's game plan was, he had 3 plays: Giannis to the left, Giannis to the right, and Giannis up the middle. That was your game plan right there, man. Let Giannis work, pretty much. Phoenix tried their best to build a wall, but Giannis went around it. He went through it. He went over it. I mean, and free throws was the killer. him hitting his free throws. He went 17 of 19 in the closeout game, hitting his free throws, man. If he can master that, he do 17 of 19 on a regular basis. I really don't see them being beaten often, man. It just I don't see it, you know. And Chris Middleton continues to climb because he has superstar talent. He has superstar talent, perennial all-star superstar talent. If he continues to develop, we're looking at a duo that should win more than one title, if we're being honest. Because Brooklyn is powerful, you know, they got a lot of power and a lot in Brooklyn, but look, Brooklyn, number one, they're paper thin and because they stay hurt and they're older. Giannis and them are younger, and they're going to have more time to develop. KD and them, those bodies in Brooklyn are going to start to break down because they're older. So I'm looking for Milwaukee to at least make one more run and get at least one more chip.
I like their size. I think their size kind of hurt Phoenix a lot, you know, that they could Giannis there, and Middleton, and then the other big guy. I mean, I just didn't think that the Suns could match up. You know, Suns was a guy. I mean, they're a team that could shoot it from the perimeter. They can push the pace, but man, you get down in that low block and they grab an offensive rebound. They could their bigs can shoot from the outside, and they can get back up on the floor. And it just, I don't know. I mean, I will say this, though. It takes them 2 games into a series to figure out an opponent. And they did it against the Hawks, and they did it against the Suns. But, you know, when the guy decided to put Drew Holiday on Chris Paul, it really won the series for him, to be honest. I mean, Giannis, you can't take anything away from Giannis. He was the best player on the floor. But when he put Drew Holiday where, and in the end, like soon as Chris got the ball inbounded, there's Drew. It did something to the offense. It took them too long to get in the offense, and then they were playing behind a set defense. And when you watch those other series, the Lakers, they never had to face a set defense. They would run and they would get open threes. They would push the pace. They would beat the other team down. They didn't have, but when the Bucks took away that, and this kind of, you know, it took away possessions. It got them into where they passing. They couldn't really spread the floor. And you got to commend the Bucks. They, you know, he made the right adjustments as that series went along, and he took advantage of the best guy, you know, on the floor, which was Giannis. So. Give him credit.
And I think for going forward for Phoenix, the key to that team is DeAndre Ayton. That's your guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy. As long as he continues to develop, he got to get a few more bricks in his back pocket. I just looked up his weight. They say he's listed at 250 pounds. He doesn't look 250. He looked like he was running 240. He don't look 250 to me. But, you know, once he gets his man body, because he's still a little wiry up top. You know, kind of like Bam Adebayo. Bam was waiting to get his man body as well. But once Ayton develops, he gets his man body. I think he's the key, man, because he's the last big who can run and he's 7 foot. The 7-footers, the most 7-footers today, they got cinder blocks for feet. Ayton can run. He can get up and down the floor. And like you said, when they put Ayton in the pick and roll, man, it's deadly.
But you know, that's what they should have did. They should have allowed Ayton to come up to the top of the key, run the pick and roll through him, and if he had to be the passer, make him the passer. But that's what they should have did instead of or let Chris get the pass from the pick and roll and get to the elbow and make the shot. You know, but that ain't what they did. They had him too far underneath the basket, and basically he got neutralized by Giannis. But you gotta make him an initiator. You gotta make him be a guy that's that athletic that he can actually beat guys off the dribble. I mean, he can beat a guy to the lane because of his athleticism. And they should have had him spotted up right at the free throw line and pick his spot of what he wanted to do. If it wasn't open for him on the pick and roll, get a ball back, but take advantage of what. because what you want with Aiden is you want to be in a situation you don't know what he's going to do, and maybe he might need to develop a little mid-range shot to go along with that, but put him on the high post up there and run the pick and roll through him. That's what they should have did.
Yeah.
You got to make him three-dimensional.
Right. And because watching it, man, you would think that Giannis and DeAndre Ayton were the same size and the same weight. Yeah, DeAndre's bigger. He's 10 pounds heavier because I think Giannis runs at about 240. So get Ayton at about 260-ish. And I don't think because he got bullied sometimes. He got bullied from time to time in the paint, man. That was the first time in the playoffs DeAndre's been bullied the whole playoffs. He hadn't been bullied the whole playoffs. He was the dominant big man on the floor every round except for in the finals.
But he got turned too many times. One thing, even the announcer was saying, like when he was bodying up from the shoulders. He wasn't bodying up from chest to Giannis. And when he basically put himself out of the position, so when Giannis drives through the lane, it's open because he's not in position to stay in front of him, And
spin right off him.
Yeah, spin off of him because he's guarding them wrong. He don't want him. I guess he was trying not to get the contact foul, but man, you gotta stay in front of a guy like Giannis. You can't cover him from the side and bang in his shoulder and think that's gonna stop him. But that's development, but that's also they gotta coach him. He plays a lot of guys who doesn't have his athleticism, doesn't have his height. He's playing against smaller guys, but when you got to go up against a guy like Giannis, you got to change your game. You got to do things that you normally won't have to do when you play 30 other teams in the league, and they didn't make the appropriate adjustment.
No, they didn't. Ned said he was being pushed around like a chess pawn.
Giannis, he's pretty good, ain't he? You got to give a guy credit, man. Giannis is
got to give it to him, man. Got to give it to him, man. Got to give it to him.
I done heard all this talk. Oh yeah, I remember Charles Barkley about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, he's got to stop being this guy that go 1 against 3. Hey, if he can do it, hey, he did spin moves on 1 against 3, and he still got the shot in.
Yeah.
So you can't criticize.
Did you hear Steven Jackson?
Oh, what he said?
Dude, this is why I hate the older players of just about any league because they get so self-righteous sometimes, like they so holier than thou, man. I hate that. So he said that because Giannis basically disparaged Super Team. He saying I won't say disparaged, but he was like, I didn't have to do that. He said, we built it from the ground up here, and I didn't have to go join the Super Team to win me a title. And Steven Jackson's like, what you talking about Super Team? You got a superstar, you got Chris Middleton, who's a superstar, and then you got one of the best defenders in the league, and Drew Holiday, and he's a great facilitator, he can score, and you got great glue guys. He's talking about they basically saying Giannis, like you are on the super team. Dude, that's not a super team, man. In no way, shape, or form is that a super team. They built that's a grassroots, man. They built that from the ground up, just like Golden State built from the ground up.
Yeah. And it's hard to get free agents to go to Milwaukee. So
yes, it is. We talking about one of the smallest markets, man. I don't think what markets are smaller than what? Maybe Orlando is a smaller market. I know Phoenix is a small market. New Orleans is a small market.
Memphis, it's probably about you can put about 4 of them on your right hand, and that would be it. And they'll be among that 4 or 5. So
yeah,
but I think you got to celebrate a guy who didn't. He got that massive contract with Milwaukee, but he wasn't one of these guys who bolting out to LA and playing on one of those teams out in LA.
Yep.
Going to the Knicks. The same old. The guy settled in a small market, Milwaukee of all places, and he said he want to build a winner. He want to be part of building. He want to finish what he started. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. There's always going to be players that's going to go to LA and play in the sun and surf and all that, but it's good to see one guy decided to max up with a team that he started with, which is a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah, definitely is, man. But congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm looking forward
Yep.
to next season. They got Brooklyn already open as the favorite for the title, which should be expected. They'll be healthy, to start the season. So we'll see how it plays out. See, hold on. See what Ness says. Let's see. See, Giannis should have sent him the LOL emoji with a picture of that Miami Heat super team. Yeah, yeah, right. Come on now. Yeah, let's come on with that. But back to the NFL. So let's talk about this. I don't know why people have this thing about James Robinson and him being traded because we now have ETN. I've seen it on Pro Football Talk. I've seen it on a few outlets. I think Big Cat Country and I've talked about it. I think John Shipley, he writes the Sports Illustrated, cover the Jaguars. Somebody asked him in the mailbag, and he pretty much broke it down like, that's a bad idea. No, you shouldn't do it. The reason it came back up is because Cam Akers went down with Achilles tear, and he's done for the season. And so they were saying that doesn't make sense to trade James Robinson to the Rams. And no, people, it doesn't. Please stop this. ETN is going to be a great player, but we talking about potential versus a sure thing. James Robinson is the real deal. We've already seen it. We know what he's going to bring. He's going to be easy and steady like Sunday morning. He's going to tote the mail for us, man. So I'm not with it, Mr. Reid.
Well, hey, let me preach on this a little bit. We are an NFL city, and we got an NFL team. Now, 12 of the last 13 years, they haven't been in the playoffs. One of the big reasons why they hadn't been in the playoffs is you have to get competition at each position. You got, especially at running back.
Yep.
In order to be a great team, if you want to be a mediocre team, then you just have one stud playing running back and roll the dice. Go down to Tampa and see, do you think that they don't want two running backs that's competing for the starting job and it's going to make both of them better? Lennon has never worked in his life as much as he done worked over the last 5 or 6 months to try to win that starting job. It ain't about even, Super Bowl and all that, but hey, that's Tampa's story. The story in Jacksonville is you have to have competition at running back. And James Robinson, what in the world? Why would you trade him? If you got Etienne is going to play, there's going to be a bunch of situations where both those guys are going to be on the field at the same time. I would rather have two guys on the field that will mix up the defense and enough that I don't know who they're going to give it to. I mean, we gotta worry about this guy, and we got to worry about that guy. It's been a long time since the Jaguars had weapons on the field that the defense really had to pay attention to.
Yes.
And when you got a guy that rushed for 1,000 yards, and you just drafted Travis Etienne, the ACC history. He holds the history as far as most rushing yardage, career rushing yardage. Yep. And he can play receiver, and he's a playmaker, big play threat. Then you won't. I think that in itself is defining defining the head coach is what he is. He want playmakers on the field. He don't want to subtract them and ship them to the Rams or whoever else and take away another option or another playmaker to the team that's coming off a 1-15 record. They can't stop. Let me say this. If you got Travis Etienne at wide receiver, ain't no way in the world they're going to stack that box with 8 guys like they did with Leonard Fournette.
Nope.
So that tells you right there. And if Laviska continues to show what he's been showing, and he can play the slot and get over in between those linebackers and have a middle threat and something that could give them a threat anytime he on the field, then that takes more of that's another advantage for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
You have to have advantages on that field, man. You can't like, oh man, well, if he doesn't start, then we're gonna have to cut him or trade him. If that's the philosophy, the Jaguars are not gonna win. So they gotta keep that talent, and you gotta boost your talent that's back up to second string, whatever you want to call it, but particularly at running back on what Meyer want to do. Nothing wrong having two running backs. I tell you this, they're not going to have a whole lot of plays featuring the tight end if they don't get one.
Yeah, they'll be a blocker. That's pretty much what they're using for. They're using the block. Let's see. Nesco said he said dual threat is the basis of the Jags' glory days. Remember Keenan, Jimmy, and Fred. Come on, man. Yeah. You don't subtract weapons, man. We it's not like we have an embarrassment of weapons right now. Okay, we got you got a lot of potential, but there are no surefire, bona fide star weapons here. James Robinson is the most consistent thing we have right now. Everything else is we're going to find out and see. That's pretty much what we got. Trevor Lawrence, question mark. ETN, question mark. Marvin Jones, question mark. DJ Chark, question mark. Laviska Shenault, question mark. We don't know. James Robinson, we already know what we're going to get with James Robinson, So when I saw it, I was like, I got to talk about this, man, because it's silly. It's silly. But I guess when it's the dog days of summer and you ain't got nothing else to talk about, you wait for football to start, you come up with stupidness.
But it's amazing to me how many rumors don't originate in Jacksonville, but originate like ESPN, NFL Network.
Oh, yeah.
CBS Sports. When those guys come to Jacksonville, if they come at all, probably come for about 1 or 2 games.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, you got guys speaking on that. That's why I hate when the national media talks about Jacksonville and speaks about the city, not just the Jaguars. They were here 13 seconds, and they have an opinion on Jacksonville. And I'm like, you don't know the majority of your opinions is based on what other people have said. You haven't been here, man. Yeah. I hate that.
Yeah. That's a problem with the national media.
Hey, yeah. Nesco say, John, you said a mouthful with that one. Yeah, it's amazing how those rumors start from those outside sources.
Yeah, it's like somebody put it in the air. To me, it seemed like sometimes the teams work with the national media. Hey, see what you can do to try to get this guy to come to the Rams, and let's try to get that trade generated. Let's start throwing some things out there just to generate some interest. No offense to ESPN, but ESPN creates stories sometimes.
Yeah, they do. They do. I believe it. They do. I think so. They do because they take stuff and they run with it. What tells you that they create stories is because it's a guy named Uncle Chaps on Twitter, and he's a Jaguar. He's a Jaguar guy. He works at Barstool Sports now. He went viral and got famous because Olivier Vernon was a free agent, and he was here in Jacksonville, and the Jacksonvilles looked like they were going to sign him, the defensive end. He ended up signing with New York. Uncle Chaps had tweeted out that Olivier Vernon officially signs the Jaguars 5 years, $75 million. A ESPN pundit picked it up, and it was on ESPN within the hour, and it was a false report. So when I saw that, I said, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They do it, and they do it a lot with college football. They do." And speaking of, I know this ain't on our forum tip, but you heard we spoke about Maria Taylor. She left there, right?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, she's she's going to NBC?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's going to get her money, she's going to go get her money. ESPN, hey, they feel like, just they didn't want to pay her what she wanted, so hey, they just gonna have to bite that bullet, find other. There's talent to be found. Maria Taylor's not the only one, she's good. But there's talent out there. They just need to go out and find it. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they felt like they could find some talent and bring them in who's kind of unknown and get them cheaper and develop the talent. Maria's at a point where now you're not going to be able to lowball her. No. Everybody has seen her talent. They've seen how good she is, and you're going to have to pay her top dollar from now on.
Yeah, she was unemployed for 2 days. That tell you all you need to know.
There it is.
Just enough to dry the ink on the new contract with NBC. But hey, when you got talent, you got talent, and she knows she got talent. So that's how that goes.
That's it, man. That's it. So, man, oh yeah, that was next. Yes, this we spoke about Deion Sanders a little bit earlier and talking about Jalen. So Deion Sanders, he had media day. He's the head coach at Jackson State. They had media day, and the reporter called him Deion, and he said, "Hey, don't do that. Don't call me Deion. You call me, you show me the respect you show Nick Saban." He said, "You call him Coach Sanders," and the guy said, and it's funny, man. The reporter said, "Okay, Deion." Yo, he said, "Okay, Deion." And Deion got up and he walked off. Hey, now I'm like this. I mean, I get where Deion's coming from, and I get where the reporter was coming from, because the reporter, they showed where he's called Nick Saban Nick before, and Nick has answered him and had no problem with it. And I get where Deion's coming from, but in that moment, I don't know if I'm just get up and walk off like that. I don't know if I would have done it like that, man. But we know Deion. Deion is, dude, his ego. I'm surprised he's able to fit into rooms sometimes, man. Deion's ego, his the only thing bigger than Deion's ego was his play on the field, because he was an excellent player. But that ego is huge, man. And I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence about it, So how you feel about that, man?
Well, let me just say this. Come on, man. Come on, Deion. Come on now. I used to watch your reality show. I don't even think his own sons call him.
Oh, Coach Sanders. Yeah.
Nah, wait. I mean, Deion. I gotta talk to you, man. Deion, let's don't generate attention for unnecessary stupidness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your mama named you Deion Sanders. It's no disrespect of being a coach. I mean, we know you're a coach. We know you Coach Sanders or whatever you want to call yourself. I mean, but I just think that's just a attention gatherer that just don't even. I mean, I think Deion's biggest asset is not walking out of a SWAC media day and being mad because a reporter called him Deion. I mean, that's like drama that don't even need to be in the SWAC, man. I mean, that's just that don't need to be newsworthy. You taking away from what he can do to generate attention for the school, the SWAC, and all the other HBCUs.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world know if you're trying to generate because you want the world to know that you the head coach at Jackson State, there's a lot of ways you can send that message other than walking out that thing and trying to embarrass a reporter or whatever. So I just think that, man, sometimes we have to channel how we get attention.
Yeah.
And think about do I really want to send a message, as you said, an ego message?
Yeah.
That to me, what he's trying to say is, I want you guys to regard me in the same way you would do if I was in the SEC and I was coaching a Power 5 program. Yeah. I want the same regard and the same respect from you guys that you give to the Nick Sabans of the world. I guess that's what he was trying to say. Yeah. But there's so many more ways. I think what Deion should be doing right now is to make this country aware that the value of these HBCU schools and all what they mean to us
Mhm.
and all of the things that they don't have and they should have. And that should be his message. It should be like, if I send my kid to Jackson State, I want him to have the same privileges and entitlements and get an opportunity to be, if he's good enough to play pro ball. I want him to have some of the same things that some of these other schools have.
Yeah.
Instead of getting into this, hey, you don't call Nick, you call him Coach Saban, and that's gonna go out the other ear, man. That's not no standing moment.
Yeah.
It just shows pettiness from Deion when he's got a forum. He's got things that he could really do to help those schools, and he should use all what he has to do that instead of all this unnecessariness, man. That's just,
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many more things that he could have got on his soapbox about,
yeah.
or so many more hills that he could have died on about in certain subjects. Man, it's crazy. Let's see, Deion Sanders' ego is bigger than his head, and brother, let me tell you, that brother got a huge head. And let's go say he agree, man. He say pettiness at its finest. Yeah, it was incredibly petty because, like you said, it's about Jackson State.
Yeah,
it's about the SWAC. It's about HBCUs. Like if I'm going on to let's say FS1 calls me up and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp want me to come on the show. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna make it personal. It's gonna be about branding the brand, not branding the person. I'm trying to sell my brand. Not just branding the person. It's my brand, because my brand is what's going to get me known. So Deion represents Jackson State. He's not Deion Sanders, the Hall of Fame football player. He's Deion Sanders, Jackson State coach, who's 4-3. That's who you are.
And you always gotta, as a college coach, you have to always know that your players are watching you. You always want to be in a position where you setting a good example. You don't set an example if one of your guys become a coach and a young reporter, get 3 minutes in to ask a question. You don't get the question answered and then get chastised for not calling him Coach Sanders. That's just I don't know. Maybe I'm upset because I'm a journalist, but man, that's pettiness. That serves nothing. That's pettiness, and it shows ego, and it even hurts him if say he go to Jackson State and he want to get to a bigger program. You don't think that gonna stay on his resume? It's valid. It validates what everybody think of him anyway. Ego.
Ego. And then get this. This doesn't help him, because you can't win. This is a battle Deion can't win, because you got to talk to the media.
Yeah,
you have to talk to the media in some ways. As a player, you have to. I'm not saying you have to kowtow or bend the knee to the media, but the media holds power still. Even though we're in the information age, and we can connect with our players and our favorite figures basically directly to them more and more, we still depend on those who cover those people as well for information, inside information that we wouldn't get. So with the media, you're still going to have some kind of relationship with them. You don't want to ice a relationship with the media, because I've seen when the media has a something against somebody, and they can freeze you out. I've seen it. T.O. wasn't the first ballot Hall of Famer because of the media. It's because of the media.
Yeah.
It's because of the media.
And a lot of baseball players too who didn't,
Yeah. Media still hold power, man. They do. So it's petty. Yeah, like you said, it's petty at the end of the day. get the conversation back on Jackson State, and that I think it's the South Heritage Classic between him and Tennessee State, whose head coach is Eddie George. That's what should have been talked about. Two former NFL greats, coaching HBCUs matching up against each other. That's what I want to hear about. So
talking up his players, use that forum to talk up your prospects, and so everybody know who they are. Even in California or somewhere, if he got this message and, the platform that everybody know him nationwide, then use it to the advantage to get Jackson State on the map and win more games. Don't go 4-3.
Right. You're not going to play EWC every game, man. So
even though
get
they would love to play. Yes, sir.
They would love to play EWC every game. I see they just moved up to Division II, so congrats to EWC. Moving on up, man.
EWU, University.
EW University, man. Let's see, primitive choke. Oh, man. All right, so our last topic, I saved the best for last because when I tell you this last one is a doozy when I heard about this story. So Ben Zobrist. So Ben Zobrist is a Chicago Cubs player, and he's going through a divorce right now from his wife. And what's notable about, divorce happens all the time. I think the rate is like almost 60% of this country. So it's nothing new, but it's the details and what's going on with his divorce. So Ben Zobrist is getting divorced from his wife because they were going through a rocky time in their marriage, and they were being counseled by his pastor. He counseled them pre-marriage and post-marriage, and at his pastor's behest, he took a year off of baseball to work on his marriage, forfeited $8 million contract. So come to find out, though, his pastor was sleeping with his wife the whole time, dealing with his wife. And the craziness behind it, though, is that he not only was he sleeping with his wife, he was stealing from Ben Zobrist's charity. His pastor was stealing from the charity, his charity, and now he's suing his pastor right now while he's going through the divorce. They say the straw that broke the camel's back, and I pulled the article up. I think this is the New York Post. He say wife threw a $30,000 party for the pastor. He said, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and he moved forward with the divorce when he found that out. He said, dude, it's just, and not only that, what made headlines and what got this story to be a national story is that not only has his wife divorcing him and she was cheating on him with the pastor, she demands $4 million from him on top of what she was going to already get, because she said that him forfeiting that $8 million, those are funds for the family. So because he forfeited those $8 million, she wants $4 million. She wants half of that money because he should have never forfeited that money, but he did it for her. And she told that to the judge with a straight face. And this is supposed to be a Christian woman. People like her are those people give Christianity and religion in particular a bad name, because the non-believers will point to situations like this and say, well, look at your Christian women. Look at your Christian men. Look how they operate. How can you tell me about Jesus when this is how you operate? Hey, let's go crazy. He said, I would have felony assault charge waiting on me. Hey, Ness, I'm telling you, man, it's so many twists and turns to this story. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. I couldn't believe it when I heard it, but I tell you, Mr. Reid, I can't do it. I don't know. But Zobrist, I blame him because he didn't properly vet. At the end of the day, he's going through this because he chose someone who he most likely didn't properly vet. He probably thought she was cute and thought she was nice. They dated for a little bit, got married, and he just didn't do the proper vetting. Because I'm pretty sure if he did, I'm thinking, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. This is a nice church girl. I ain't got to worry about her. I'm just go ahead and marry her. I'm pretty sure that was his thought process. And that's where you fail. You got to vet everybody. I don't care what their background is and where they come from.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know how to start with this story. I might say the wrong thing, man. All I can say, marriage is tough.
Yeah.
When you say vet, you don't. I don't recommend anybody rush into marriage if you don't know who your partner, what the motives, because if it doesn't work out, it get ugly. I mean, it's just sometimes it seems like a money grab bag from this case, but you really got to know your partner. I mean, I think one of the most incredible things in life is having a happy marriage.
I would imagine, man.
But you have to work at it. But this situation, I'm lost. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the moral of this story is. He didn't know that she was this capable of. A lot of times you can be the most sanctified person in the world, and there's still some falsehoods, and money is the root of all evil, man. I don't care what anybody say. It's just money can really change a lot of things, and that's what it seemed like in this case.
Yeah, and not only that, man. I don't care what a man's title is. He's still a man. At the end of the day, I don't care what his title is, what his beliefs are. He's still a man, and he had to have seen him getting close with his wife, because if you pay attention, people change, man, woman, child. When we're going through things, and something is different, our patterns change, our behaviors change. And I will say this about Ben Zobrist, and where I would kind of give him a little leeway, is that he has a tough job. He has to be a high performing athlete. That's what he has to do. His focus is baseball year round. They play 162 games. He has to play at a high level if he wants to continue to keep a job. And the pressure is incredible that some of those guys are under, especially to perform. So you really don't have time. I know he really don't have time to sit and watch every little thing about them. And then he's gone. He's gone majority of the time. So they were probably in the house in their marital bed. Who knows what was going on. So, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing, but I think young athletes need to know these things, because one of the stats that I don't think is talked about enough is that 80% of athletes are divorced 3 years out of the league, and that's regardless of the sport. 80% of them 3 years out of the league go through a divorce, and that just shows me is that they married the lifestyle. They didn't marry the man; they married the lifestyle. What he can provide, what he can bring. So once the bright lights are off, once the cameras are off, and once the millions of dollars stop flowing in and endorsement deals stop coming in, real life begins, and it's time to be in a real relationship. And they're like, "Hey, I'm out, I'm done, I'm out, I gotta go. Yeah. And it's crazy. And they say unbelievable. The pastor's supposed to be counseling, and to be bending the Bible pages, not bending her over tables. Wow. Crazy,
hey, man. I mean, it's just life is. I don't know. I mean, it's just things can be unexplainable. But I hear what you're saying, Brandon. And a lot of times, one of the things about being a professional athlete is it's hard to find trust. It's hard to know who's real, who out for your best interest, who out for your money. And it's some of these guys, when the ball ain't bouncing anymore, and you're not bringing home 52 or whatever, you're not bringing home that big check anymore from the professional league. You're just a normal guy, and that impacts sometimes. It impacts that hey, your spouse no longer in the spotlight. You know, you all those luxuries that you used to have don't have no more, and that's why you know marriage is you know, and it ain't just an athlete. You know, you just be regular Joe, and
Yeah.
you hit rock bottom. You want somebody gonna stand beside you, not bolt and leave.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Speaking of which, I did a show on Monday. You guys can go check it out. Me and my buddy Sean Taylor, we talked about it. Will she have your back if you fall off financially? We did talk about that, man. Some very good gems were dropped in that one. So man, check that out, people. Let's see. Nesco said they're picking women with their eyes and not with their hearts. Of course, that's what it is. That's the biggest thing, man. That's the biggest thing. From Dwayne Haskins getting his tooth knocked out by his wife to Von Miller being barred from the birth of his child because of the woman he picked. What's it? Vincent Taylor, the Miami Dolphins player, him and his ex-girlfriends leaking tapes of each other. I mean, these guys, you already know how they're picking, and you forget because they make millions of dollars. You forget that these are still very, very young men that don't have a ton of experience dealing with women. Have they dealt with women? Yeah, of course. Women have probably always been around because they're athletes, but they don't know the inner workings and how women operate. They don't know.
and you know something else, Brandon? They took the love songs off the radio, man. That
Yeah, that's done.
That just messed up everything. Even if you didn't know nothing, you can learn from listening to them love songs. And they took them all off the radio.
Yeah, now it's hey, at least
skip hop.
yeah, at least it was a mix because back in the day you had a love song and then you'll gotta have a J-O-B if you want to be with me, no romance without finance, no scrubs, bills. You know, you had all those things back in the day, but then you have some love songs to balance it. Now, I mean, Cardi B got a song. She say, "Broke boys don't deserve no," and you can fill in the blank. And that's what it is now, man. That's what it is.
If you got a whole bunch of money, though, don't look like that's no sunshine either. Look like that's rain too. You can't stand the rain. It's all about love, man. The world don't have enough love. We got too much hate, and it's even coming down to relationships. You know.
Yeah.
There's no love. Put the love songs back on the radio. Maybe that'll help something. Put. Let's go find the next Luther. Find some love songs on the radio, man.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hip hop. I'm tired of hip hop.
Yeah. And find Big Luther, not Little Luther. Big Luther. You need Big Curl ain't quite right Luther. That's the Luther we need, man. But I used a guy I watch his name Coach Greg Adams, and he talked about that. He said guys think money is a solve all too. They think money is going to get you. It's going to get you in with women. It's going to get you obedience. It's going to get you cooperation, and it's going to make things easier with women. And he said it's actually the opposite. He said once you, especially an athlete, you become a high value target, and women who are out they just looking for the bag and they looking to get a baby or have money, though you become a target to those women, and those women know what spaces to get into to get access to you. You know, look at PJ Washington, the Hornets player. He just had a baby by an IG model named Brittany Renner. She has a book talking about her escapades with other athletes. She talked about how Colin Kaepernick made her pay for her own plane ticket to fly out to see him in California. You know, and talking about her body count and stuff. And I'm like, PJ's 22 and she's 30. But I'm like, PJ, man, you gotta know. And they just had a baby and now they broke up. They were together, they all cheesing and smiling. She got pregnant. Oh, we're pregnant. Just had the baby. They broke up now. And PJ done. And I'm like, look at her. She got you 18 years. Hey, he'll win the NBA finals and now he drive off in the Hyundai now. Because she got you for 18 years. Craziness.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. You have to, when you're young, you're dumb. You gotta be smart.
Gotta be smart, man.
It's beyond the pretty face. And that could be vice versa too, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta have compatibility. If it ain't gonna be compatibility, don't need to be bringing children in the world to that.
Man, definitely not. Definitely not, man. Let's see, Nesco say athletes are picking cars off the showroom floor and never looked under the hood. Got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yes, indeed. We want the Range Rover.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, last thing before we get out of here. So, um, the shooting at the Washington Nationals game. One of the things I want to bring up with that, and I know you know this, I think it's not enough is talked about where these stadiums are located when they build these stadiums. They're built. If you look at the neighborhoods, they're in some of the worst neighborhoods they could possibly be in, and it's simply because they trying to save a dollar. That's all it is. They want to save a dollar. Like I think me and you talked about the Miami Dolphin Stadium, dude. That neighborhood where the Dolphin Stadium at, it's rough over there. Yeah, I mean, though, I remember I was doing working with CSC Security, and we were going down there to work a Dolphins game because when they need extras, we'll go out of town and work other games, especially when the Jaguars don't have a game. And so we went down there, and it's like 6, 7 in the morning, and our bus we were on, we're pulling through the neighborhood, and you see the stadium get ready to turn. And the neighborhood the last street we were going down, right next to the stadium. It was, I know, it was basically a baby. It couldn't have been no more than 3 years old. No shirt on, no shoes on, a diaper on the big wheel, riding down the sidewalk. Looked like he about 3, 4 years old. Not a parent in sight. I say, this is a bad neighborhood. When you see that, it's a pretty bad neighborhood, man. But they only want to highlight those things now. Oh, it was a shooting at the Nationals game, so now they want to talk about it. Now they want to highlight it. Other than that, man, people don't care, man. They just trying to save a buck,
They get the cheapest land.
Yeah.
Where the Marlins play at, that's a tough neighborhood. I remember when the Clippers used to play at the LA Coliseum, and it was across the street from the project. And over there by the area where the new Rams Stadium is right next to Inglewood. Inglewood is a tough area.
Oh man, I've heard so many stories about that.
I mean, when the riots came and they took the guy out of the truck, that was like right around the corner from where that stadium is at now. It's not far away.
Yeah.
I just, it's the land. It's the land. It's a cheap land that they get to
Mm-hmm.
go out. They go out and buy cheap land, and they a lot of those cheap land deals in underserved neighborhoods.
Oh, Nesco brought up a good one, and we'll end with this. So that new with NFL teams making teams forfeit due to the C-19 outbreaks. Man, I saw that, and I was wondering about that, and I do get it, but this is the thing. You can have an outbreak on every single team, vaccinated or unvaccinated, so let's say the Browns, they meet that 85% threshold or whatever that 13 teams meet. They have an outbreak and they won't be penalized because 85% are vaccinated, but they had an outbreak and they infected the other team, whoever they played. But say the Jaguars don't meet the threshold, they have an outbreak, they have to forfeit if you can't reschedule the game. But both teams have spread the disease. Mm-hmm. So I understand it, but then again, I don't, because whether you vaccinated or not, you can still catch it and you can still spread it. So I don't know about this. I know. Have you heard more about that?
I say this on this. I think this is I think this is going to be a big issue. I really feel the NFL is using scare tactics, and some of the things that they've implemented this week with that memo came out it's like it's made some of these players. I don't care how you threaten me. I'm not going to. It's almost like they putting the straw. Today, 2 coaches. I think one got fired, and the coach with the Patriots, assistant coach, and they let the they were forced to leave because they refused to take the vaccination. You know, because
Wow.
if you're a coach, if you don't be vaccinated, you can't work directly with the player. You can't be a tier one or a tier two, so your job is obsolete. You basically lose your job, and two assistant coaches lost their job today. And I think that I mean, when you look at a team like the Buffalo Bills, I think the Buffalo Bills got like right now they're not even at 62% of their players vaccinated. I'm even a little surprised at the Jaguars. The Jaguars are not among that 85%, and they had three players today go on the COVID list. And you know, I don't know if right now at what point where they're at as far as the whole roster with vaccination, but you know, what is the threshold of an outbreak? Is it three players? Is it four players? Will it be five players? Because both teams, if this happened during the regular season, both teams won't get paid.
Yeah.
It ain't just the team that, you know, for forfeit reasons, the team that had the outbreak is going to lose the game. They're going to forfeit the game, but both
Hmm.
teams won't get, neither player from either team will get paid. And
That's crazy.
I think this is a scare. I think the commissioner and the owners have gotten together and they're saying we're not going to reschedule games, but we also not going to compensate and take profit away because of this COVID situation.
Yeah.
And I give you another example, man. The media, the media for the Jaguars. Even if you fully vaccinated, if you want to be on the field and interview players, you still gonna have to get a COVID test every 14 days, like the players. I
Yeah.
say to myself, you know, I got to do that because it's the job. But man, I'm almost to the point that man, I'm fully vaccinated, and in a lot of ways, it don't feel like it meant nothing. I guess it's keeping me safe, but
Yeah.
there's no you got to pay for your privilege.
Yeah.
So you got to
Yeah.
get that swab down your nose. But I tell you, Brandon, I'm hoping I'm like a lot of other people. Man, I just want this stuff to leave. I mean, I am I don't even know the right word. I just like I'm overburdened with this COVID situation. You know, it's just like it's no
Yeah.
end to the game. It is no end to this. You know, it's the variant today and tomorrow. What is it going to be a variant? Is it going to be a booster shot in 2 months? Is it, you know, people still dying? It's people refusing the shot. It's still questions about the vaccines. It's just I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's just almost becoming to a point that it don't seem like this is going away. You know, I can remember back in December of last year and early January, and most of the conversation was, well, when the vaccines come out, we're going to get back to normal. I remember the president saying in July, you'll be able to have a family get together if you vaccinated and you don't have to worry about anything. Well, now they're telling, there's got some states, whether you vaccinated or non vaccinated, we want you to wear a mask. It's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And then I see
Yeah.
that big old crowd. I see that big crowd. You know, I watched the television during the finals and I look at that big crowd standing outside of that arena.
Yeah. 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 I'm with you too. See,
And
Nesco
I
say now not taking the vaccine to me is just dumb. So he's saying I'd rather catch COVID and possibly die than having something that can help me to survive. With Ness, I get what you're saying, Ness, but I'm telling you, I'm on the other side of the fence, Ness, because I hear that, but we talking about a 99% survival rate. Um, let's be honest, they're making this up as they go. They are, because I like you say, it's you gonna got two shots. Now we gonna get a third shot. They want the booster shot. They want the under 12 shot now. They gonna come up with one for the Delta variant, and then once the next variant come, it's gonna be another booster shot. I mean, when does the how deep does the rabbit hole really go? And This isn't, and I think only 48% of the country, they said 48.8%, close to 50% is vaccinated, and the other half is not. I mean, it is what it is. Now, I will say this: you will not get people to get on board with you with the vaccine by strong arming them. It ain't happening. It's not. DeSantis brought it up, and he said heckling those who haven't had it is not going to get you far at all. It's not. I seen where today DeAndre Hopkins say he might retire if he's forced to take it. Cole Beasley has been the poster child for not taking it. He's been going crazy, man. Cole Beasley is off the chain, man. But yeah, man, it's Leonard Fournette came out today. He said, "Nah, I ain't doing it." He said, "I'm not doing it." You know, it's a lot. Look, I think LeBron James is on that too. He's been quietly. He's on that too. It's a bunch of them, man, that's saying no. And Josh Allen, the quarterback from the Bills, I saw it where, he's the same thing. He's not doing it. He said he's not doing it, man. So I don't know, man. I know one thing though. If I'm a player and Michael Irvin telling me he gonna fight me because I'm not vaccinated, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna knock him smooth out. Under Michael Irvin coming up talking that trash to me, talking about you're not committed to winning if you don't get the vaccine. I'll fight any player that's not. Man, come on, Mike Irvin. Come on now. Come on, cut it out.
I'm vaccinated, but I don't know, man. I just don't think we're going to see an end of this through the rest of the year. I think that this Delta variant is something that even the science of this is baffled. I think there's more to this story, and I think that we're going to be in this situation for the rest of the year. I mean, and as far as the NFL, I think they're going to be games that have to be forfeited. I think at this point, I think it's been a tug of war, and the NFL trying to force players to take that vaccination, and there's going to be players that say, not me. You're not going to force me to do anything. And then we get in a situation where we're going to have forfeit games. We're going to have forfeit games. We're going to have this spread, and I don't know, man. It's just the toughest thing about this whole COVID, nobody has answers for what's ahead, what's tomorrow, and what going into next year. Nobody has answers.
Yeah.
Maybe China got answers, but we can't get nothing. We can't get anything from them. But man, it's just overbearing, man. I don't, and I don't even speak about it, but it just seems like it's just, I don't know. It's just difficult. It's just difficult in a whole lot of ways to not know. You have. I mean, I done had friends that die from the COVID, and you done went from it's something that impact elderly to now impacted young people, and it's just, I don't know. It just seemed like it's a war, and this thing got ways of winning sometimes. It's just like it's like it go back and forth. We go quiet for 3 months. Like we was quiet, things was real quiet going into the 4th of July. And once that 4th of July came, when we were told, it was okay to have gatherings with your family, the outdoor gatherings, even the president said that. And now we look, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks later, the numbers are going up in every state. And it's, it's just, I don't know, it's just overbearing.
Yeah, see, look at it like it's a seat. Like this, seat belts don't stop accidents, but they will save your life and minimize the damage. And also, if you're an American, you've been vaccinated before. That's true. That's why we don't have polio. That's why we don't have, I think, measles, mumps, and stuff like that before. So why are you fearful now? Hey, when you talking about black people, you already know the answer to that, and it's skeptical from the jump. It's a conspiracy with us every day of the week. I had COVID and regretted every day I spent in the hospital on a breathing machine fighting my life, not getting the vaccine sooner. Yeah, and I can see how that's going to change. Of course, that's going to change your view on it, of course. But I've seen where the teams were like, they had where they say players are now that are on the bubble, players, especially on the bubble, certain players not vaccinated, they might cut you. They say, but this is one of the dilemmas in cutting players who are not vaccinated. They said there are players that are going to be on the list of too good to cut, basically saying that, hey, we can't cut this guy because another team gonna pick him up with the quickness. He's a good player. And they said it was 9 players who refused the vaccination on one team. 8 of them were on the list of too good to cut. You between the rock and the hard place at this point now.
But you know what, Brandon, is this, man. If I'm fully vaccinated, and I am fully vaccinated, and if I was a player, and if I got the virus, I would have to take, if I'm an NFL player, I would have to take 2 shots in a 24-hour period, as long as I'm not showing signs, not feeling sick. Mm-hmm. And if I come back with 2 negative tests in 24 hours, I can come back on the team. If I'm unvaccinated, I gotta isolate for 10 days before I can even think about coming back on that team. If I go on a Saturday with the team and go in the hotel, and my family member, if we playing in Atlanta, and I got a family uncle to come visit me, and I've been instructed that I can't leave the room, the NFL can fine me $14,620.
Mm-hmm.
If I refuse to take the test, I can be fined up to $50,000.
Yeah.
That's a serious choice, man.
Because
basically you'd be living the same life those NFL players lived last year when they couldn't. Another thing is, if you're an NFL player and you unvaccinated, you don't have an off day. You have to get tested. If you got an open week, if you off that week, an open date, you still got to come to the facility to get tested. If you off on Monday, which most teams are, you still got to come to the facility and get the swab up your nose. I mean, that's a big sacrifice.
Yeah. And I don't get that either, because like you said, even those who are vaccinated, so I got to do that, but my vaccinated teammates, they don't have to do that. They could catch it and bring it to the facility and bring it to the players and spread it, even though they're vaccinated and their symptoms and stuff, it won't be so severe. And then we still have it and we can still give it to another team, and I can still spread it amongst the team. So I don't know, man. But
what they're saying though, if any team get 85% of their players fully vaccinated, then they won't have to go through daily testing. They won't, even if you're vaccinated, you won't have to go every 14 days. And you'll be like you playing football back in 2019 if you get that threshold up to that high number. But when you don't get it up to 85, you got to go through all these things. I mean, and some of those rules, like, man, do you know that an unvaccinated player, like when the Jaguars veterans report on Tuesday, if you unvaccinated, you can't come into the facility until the 4th day. You got to come back with 3 negative tests for 3 straight days before you can enter that facility. On the 4th day, if you done came back with 3 negative tests, you come back on the 4th day, but you can't go on the field with your teammates. Now, if you're undrafted rookie, you've already missed. Well, can't say undrafted rookie because they came to camp a week ago. But if let's say you're a free agent trying to make the roster, a veteran free agent, well, you missed the first 4 days of work.
Yeah.
And you may not even, unless you great, you're not going to catch up with what you already missed 4 days.
Yeah.
Another thing I think the league did was the guys who opted out. If you look at the rosters of all the players who opted out in Jacksonville, also half of them are not in the league anymore for opting out last year.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them didn't come back. They're not playing no more.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I think so, also we're going to see some retirements. There's some players are going to leave. Yeah. And it ain't going to be low level players either. You're going to have a star or two retire.
But players don't want to be told. This debate is not just the NFL. People don't want to be told or feel like they're being forced to take a vaccine that they don't know, that they're still skeptical about.
Yeah.
And I just, what can you say? Everybody's different. I took it, but I'm 57. You're not 57.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's going to say just the thought. Think these players don't just represent themselves; their entire family will suffer. That's a high price to pay for a personal stance. That's money out your pocket, man. That's then life-changing money at that. But it's their decision. It's their body, their choice. That's what we've been told for so long. So, hey, Meemaw, I understand. You wanted that new house, but I'm not getting the poke. I get you a car or something.
That's the world we live in, y'all.
Yeah.
Vaccinated and unvaccinated. That's how the roster gonna be. They're gonna be vaccinated players hang out, and the unvaccinated players hang out, and it's gonna be like two separate teams. They got a rule. The NFL got a rule that only if you unvaccinated, only 15 players can be in the weight room at the same time. If you're vaccinated and all of the vaccinated players in the weight room, there's no limit. But if you're unvaccinated, the most you can be in the locker room is 15. You got to go take out and to go. You can't eat in the cafeteria either if you're unvaccinated.
Yeah. They're making it tough. See, 600,000 dead is enough convincing for me.
And that's I'm convinced too, man. I
question that a little. The only thing I question about that though is that I've heard doctors talk about how people who passed, they labeled it a COVID death, but the cause of their death was not COVID. They died with it, not because of it. And they say those numbers were counted in that 600,000 that you're talking about. How many? Don't know. One is enough for me. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
There's mine.
Gotta have it.
Brandon, go get that card, boy.
Right.
Pfizer.
Hey, I'll tell you this right now. Hey, I'll tell you, like, say FS1 called me, ESPN called me, somebody called me, they say, hey, we want you to hop the plane to come see blah, blah, blah. And they say, oh, but you got to be vaccinated. Okay, here you go. Here. Go ahead, put it in there, right there.
Hey, if I'm going down with a fight. And I ain't.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for Biden, hell, it's good enough for John.
Hey. There it is, man. There it is. I think vaccinated versus unvaccinated. I think this is something that's going to be going on for a while. This ain't going away no time soon. Yeah.
There are going to be people in this country that say, "Man, you're not going to force me to do something I don't want to do." And
this is what it is, man.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So. We'll see, man. We'll see what the future holds, man. But hey, y'all, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social medias. Follow Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times-Picayune. And hey, I enjoyed this today, man. This was therapeutic, you know.
Get that shot, everybody. Get that shot so you can show that card. Pfizer. Get that Pfizer shot.
No Moderna. No,
I went with the big boys. If it's good enough for the president and the vice president, it's good enough for me. So I got Pfizer.
Pfizer. Yeah.
Get that shot, y'all.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Man, we will be back next week with more topics, y'all. Until next time, we'll see y'all later, man.
Peace out.